Have you ever heard a song that feels playful on the surface, yet carries the weight of years of musical evolution underneath? A track that sounds like it's smiling at you, but also quietly rewriting the rules of what pop music could be? That's the energy behind Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel. It arrives with bright horns, a confident groove, and a sense of movement that feels almost physical, like walking into a room filled with color after standing in black and white for too long. This podcast episode isn't just about one hit single from the mid 80s, it's about transformation. It's about an artist who had spent years exploring complex ideas, suddenly deciding to communicate with warmth, rhythm, and a kind of joyful boldness that the world didn't expect. By the time Sledgehammer appeared in 1986, Peter Gabriel was already known for pushing boundaries. His earlier work with Genesis in the 70s had built a reputation for theatrical storytelling and progressive experimentation. When he left the band, many listeners wondered what direction he would take. His solo albums in the late 70s and early 80s leaned toward darker atmospheres and emotional introspection. Songs felt like quiet conversations rather than radio singles. Critics admired the artistry, but commercial success came slowly. Then came the album So. Gabriel wanted to connect more directly with audiences without losing the creative spirit that defined his career. It was like watching a painter step away from shadows and begin working with brighter colors, not abandoning depth, but letting more light in. Sledgehammer became the opening statement of that new phase. The groove of Sledgehammer feels alive from the first seconds, inspired by American soul and rhythm and blues. The rhythm moves with relaxed confidence. The bass line, played by Tony Levin using a Chapman stick, gives the track a rolling momentum that feels both grounded and playful. Producer Daniel Lanois and engineer Kevin Killen helped shape a sound that balanced organic instruments with cutting edge studio technology. This was the era when digital recording was emerging, yet many artists still relied on analog warmth. Gabriel blended both worlds carefully. The horn section, recorded with real musicians rather than synthesizers, adds a human pulse to the track. Instead of sounding rigid, the arrangement breathed like a live performance captured in motion. And then there's Gabriel's voice. He doesn't rush the lyric. He leans into them gently, almost conversationally, as if inviting listeners into a shared joke. That relaxed delivery contrasts beautifully with the tight rhythm underneath. The year 1986 felt like a turning point for pop music. MTV had become a powerful force, shaping how songs were experienced visually as well as sonically. Artists weren't just writing music anymore, they were creating worlds. In the UK and the US, audiences were hungry for something fresh. Synth pop dominated charts, but there was also a growing interest in music that blended electronic sounds with traditional soul influences. Gabriel stepped into that space naturally. Sledgehammer didn't sound like a trend follower. It felt like an artist reconnected with rhythm after years of introspection. The playful tone reflected a broader cultural mood. People wanted energy, color, and movement after the heavier political atmosphere of the early 80s. When it comes to the lyrics, at first listen, the lyrics of Sledgehammer seem light-hearted, almost cheeky, but beneath that playful language is a theme of renewal, breaking down barriers, rediscovering confidence and finding strength through vulnerability. Gabriel uses everyday imagery rather than complex poetry. He talks about power and change in a way that feels approachable. It's like hearing someone explain a deep idea through a simple story. That balance made the song accessible to mainstream audiences, while still carrying emotional depth for longtime fans who followed his earlier work. If you enjoy this kind of deep listening and reflection, join us live every week with the 90s Lover Show on Fridays and with the 80s Lover Show on Saturdays, both live at 7 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube and Kick channels. I first start the YouTube live stream for around 10 minutes just to allow people some time to gather as a kind of waiting room, and then we continue the full show live stream on Kick, where we can play full music, video clips with no restrictions. I, I share the link to Kick for you all to move there. And on Kick is where things really come alive with the 4 show segments, your song request, live voting, your voice messages on air, and even phone calls to share memories, stories, and reflections connected to the music and life. You can participate or simply listen, and if you feel like participating, you can do it on the Kicks live stream chat or by leaving comments on the main post of our public Facebook group, which allows more space to write. Join our public group on Facebook by searching for RetroLovers Radio 80s and 90s Nostalgia. Make sure also to subscribe on YouTube and turn on the notification bell. And keep an eye on all the 6 extra monthly special shows as well. When the music video for Sledgehammer premiered, it didn't just promote the song, it changed expectations for what a music video could be. Created using stop motion animation and practical effects, the visual felt surreal and alive at the same time. Instead of standing still and performing traditionally, Gabriel allowed himself to become part of the animation. His face transformed, objects moved around him, and the world seemed to reshape itself frame by frame. In an era where many videos relied on performance footage, this approach felt groundbreaking. MTV embraced it immediately, and the video became one of the most awarded and replayed clips of the decade. What made it special wasn't just the technology, it was the sense of curiosity behind it, the feeling that music and art could merge into one playful experience. If this podcast episode is bringing back memories, maybe watching this video after school or hearing the horns kick in on the radio, take a moment please to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comment section. Your support keeps these stories moving forward. Alright, coming back from the recess, one reason Sledgehammer still sounds fresh today is the way it was recorded. Gabriel and his team focus on capturing performances rather than assembling tracks piece by piece. Musicians played together, reacting to each other's timing and energy. The production avoided over-polishing. You can hear small textures, breath, subtle shift in rhythm that remind you real people created this sound. That human touch prevents the track from feeling trapped in a specific era. Even the use of synthesizers feels restrained. Instead of dominating the arrangement, electronic elements sit quietly behind the groove, adding depth without drawing attention away from the horns and rhythm section. When Sledgehammer climbed the charts, it surprised many listeners who associated Gabriel with more experimental work. The song reached number one in the United States, a milestone that reflected how effectively he connected artistic ambition with mainstream appeal. But success didn't dilute his identity. Instead, it opened the door for listeners to explore his deeper catalog. Suddenly, an artist once seen as niche became a household name. The track also influenced other musicians. Its blend of soul, art pop, and visual creativity showed that innovation didn't have to sound distant or difficult. It could be joyful, rhythmic, and welcoming. Listening to a Sledgehammer today feels like stepping into a room filled with movement. The groove doesn't rush. It invites you to sway rather than shun. That relaxed confidence gives the track a timeless quality. In many ways, the song represents balance between experimentation and accessibility, humor and sincerity, technology and human performance. It's a reminder that pop music can be intelligent without losing warmth. And maybe that's why it continues to appear in playlists decades later. New listeners discover it without needing context. The energy speaks for itself. Behind the bright horns and playful visuals, there's a deeper emotional story. After years of serious, introspective music, Gabriel allowed himself to embrace joy more openly. It's like watching an artist step into sunlight after spending too long in shadow. That emotional shift connects with listeners who have experienced their own moments of change. The song becomes more than entertainment, and it becomes a small celebration of growth. So now I'd love to hear your memories. Where were you when you first heard Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel? Did the music video surprise you the first time you saw it? Do you remember the horns hitting and instantly recognizing the song? And when you listen today, does it feel nostalgic or does it still sound ahead of its time? Please share your stories and thoughts in the comment section. Your experiences keep this music alive for everyone watching. So, do you remember now? This music gave you joy. Now, allow this moment to receive that feeling. Alright, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. See you all in the next one. I'm Mick, and this is RetroLovers Radio.